Alright, we've got another video for you. This one is about a piece of dogwood that has been cut down for about 2 months, not too long, but it has been in the heat and the shade, so it wasn't hot fast, but it has been pretty hot. And anyway, it just was a pretty interesting piece right below this particular piece. It had a lot of different limbs and another piece coming out of it, so I thought maybe it might have something to hold inside. So let's take a look and see what we can make out of this. Using a 5/8 bowl gouge cut with the swept back Irish grind or Ellsworth at approximately 55 degrees. It cuts real good. It's a lot of fun to use it. If you're looking at this video and you are thinking about getting into wood turning, you don't really have to spend an arm and a leg. You can get some of these pieces. Obviously, a starter kit that has about eight different tools in it, and now I've got just a regular angle scraper that I use to cut the mortise or the angle in the mortise. Most of my tools are really inexpensive. The bowl gouge is made by Hurricane. It's a real good piece. It's high speed steel, so it keeps a good edge on it. And what it was doing right there was getting clogged up and kind of pushing the tool off the wood, filling up, which it normally hadn't done that. I don't know why it was doing that. I'm sure it was me. What I'm trying to do right now is just come up with a pretty much standard bowl shape that I seem to always start off with, just kind of wide, not taking too much off until I see pretty much what the wood wants to do. The dog just went by. He tells me I'm doing good every time he walks by, so it makes me feel good. Just kind of rounding the sides. Kind of, I guess I'm headed for a soup bowl or a little large cereal bowl or something like that. Well, not really large, but that kind of a shape. I had really cut a lot of this video out. I had stopped it many times and then started it back up to just try to get it a little bit smoother and a little bit cleaner. You can always sand, but in my opinion, it just seems to work better if you can clean it up with the tools that you have and making sure they're sharp and all that. Now it looks like that I've got a couple ideas in my head and I want to see how it comes out. And first thing I'll do is kind of make a little indentation here. Most of the time when I stop it, I'm so busy looking at it as it's turning that when I stop it, I'm like, oh man, this doesn't look anything like I thought it was going to look. I see the shapes and all, but I envision it being real slick and smooth. And I know better. It's just, it does sometimes look like I got a long ways to go. It's going to take a little cleaning to get this straightened out. Usually when I start working with the mortise for the second time, it's when I'm fixing to turn it around and just trying to make it a little bit deeper and a little bit cleaner and really a little bit more detail in doing it. I don't know why I do it twice, but I seem to. Okay, so the bottom is turned around and the chuck is holding it in, or at least the jaws of the chuck are holding it in. And I'm just kind of cleaning it up a little bit more. And I'll wind up start taking out the inside for the ball part. As a matter of fact, I did use some glue. I didn't think I did in that knot, but that's just the beginning of problems. And hang in there. I'm fixing to move the camera so you can see a little bit better. There we go. I decided to just use this big 2 7/8 Forster bit and just haul it out quickly, and it does. Okay, I have a confession to make. I keep sitting here watching the video and just looking at the shelf full of junk and just all the other things, and not really looking at what's going on, as I forget to record. But I'm thinking this is turning out pretty good. I think it's the light was bright for the camera, but it was late and it was dark, and so I needed it for trying to get some of the size. One of the bad things, or not a bad thing, but one of the things that you're going to have to do when you have a shape like that is you can't just go with the Forster bit straight in. There's a big hunk of wood on the sides of it, and you've got to work it out. And I really don't have any of the curved tools or anything like that, but I usually get it done though. All right, now let me explain the small bowl that I have in front of the bowl that I'm working on. I've got to fill in some place on this bowl that's completely broken, and it's a bowl that I did about 20 years ago. Meanwhile, on the bowl that we're talking about, the dogwood, actually both of them are dogwood, but I'm putting some hot glue in to kind of build a little dam, and I'm going to pour some resin, some colored resin, black resin, and pour it into the knot. It's all but gone. I've got some, and I messed up the camera, which I did get my monitor fixed, but it was a day after this. It wasn't the monitor, it was the cable, and it came in. Like I said, I'm just putting a little hot glue on it to help it keep from running down the sides. And I'm using Total Boat 3-to-1, and I am using the thick set. At the same time though, I've got some black dye that I've used a couple of times, and it seems to work good. And I'm going to pour it down in the knot, and like I said, I've got tape on the other side and hope it doesn't leak, and it doesn't. But the bowl that I'm pouring it into, I knew I had more than I needed, so I wound up I put just a little bit of metallic in it, a little mica powder. And actually I got this from a friend of mine's favorite store, which is Dollar General. She's the one that told me about it, and that you just get eyeshadow. It's the same thing. I didn't put much in it because I didn't really want a lot. I didn't really want any. I should have went ahead and poured just the black end, and then I didn't mind it being in the bowl laying sideways. And then actually I think I did pour another small amount in both of them, but I did cut out pouring in the other bowl. I didn't want to confuse anybody. So this is the next day, and it's all hard, and I'm just kind of cleaning it up. And I used the black Starbond thin, actually it's medium, and I put that in a couple wormholes and little things like that, and you can see them a little bit better, but I'm taking them away in their very small places. It turned out good. One of the nice things about doing dogwood is there's a lot of black that shows up naturally anyway. I keep picking at the side of it. It's just some of that hot glue is still showing up, and I'm just picking it off with my fingernail. That's what I keep pulling at. And now I'm just trying to trim the top of that notch without it grabbing. Now you can see the knot, and it's pretty smooth, looks natural. The part that the wood was still there is still in there, so it kind of blends in real good. Same thing here. I'm just cleaning up a couple of places on the lip of it, smoothing them back out. Actually, I'm working on the inside of the knot now. The tape did hold it, but it wasn't smooth, so I'm trying to clean it up. I put some feed and wax on it, and another, I didn't really want to, but that's what I used the last bowl, and so I wound up just not thinking about it, grabbing it and putting it on. But then I tried putting this finish, this polish that you're going to see in a few minutes, and it didn't like the wax, or didn't like something, and so I wound up sanding it back down. Back down to about 800 is what I'm using right now. and then went to 5,000, and this is like 1,200 fixing to come up now. And I already did 1,000. This sandpaper is a piece of 3M. It's a rubberized backing, and you can use it wet or dry. If you ever get a chance to get something from an automotive person or place, you need to make sure that they know what they're doing. Not an auto parts store, but you'd find hard pressed to find this at an auto parts store, but mostly at a paint and body shop kind of store. But they've got some really neat things and things that you can use for all kinds of stuff, and it's just so easy to hold on because it has a rubber back, and that's mainly for when you're using it on a car and not having to and having it wet so it doesn't slide off your hand. I cut out the 1,500, and now we're at 3,000. This is a 3-inch pad that I've got a small orbital sander that we used to use trim work on parts of just different metal parts of cars, door jambs, things like that. And by the way, these microfiber towels are all separated, and I've got them in the bags of the different grit that I'm keeping up with, so that I don't have to keep throwing them away, or there's no way to wash them. You can't do that. You'll mess them up. This is 5,000, and it's a square pad. Just kind of easier to see. You don't have to think about it. Grab the square one. And it's a foam type deal. All right, back to the 5,000 and wrapping this up, and then I'll go back to that polish and see how it does. And I didn't show this particular polish. It's a 3M product, but I don't know that you can get it anymore, and I don't know if it's around. I haven't seen it in a long time. It was kind of expensive too, but I'm just trying to use up some of the stuff that I've already got. Just see what works with wood and different different coatings and the resin. I've found that it seems like most stuff that works with paint works with resin. So for anybody that's got automotive stuff, try that. Well, thank you very much for watching this. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope maybe you learned a little something. And until next week, we'll have another one. And don't forget, God is good.